The autumn wind swept through the streets of Brooklyn, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and distant rain. Terry Crews pulled his jacket tighter as he walked down Atlantic Avenue, his massive frame cutting through the evening crowd. He wasn't supposed to be here. His security team would have a fit if they knew he'd slipped away from his hotel to grab a late dinner at his favorite corner deli. The fluorescent lights of Maria's kitchen flickered as he pushed through the glass door. The familiar bell chiming above his head. The small Puerto Rican restaurant was nearly empty, save for an elderly man reading a newspaper and a young black girl, maybe 16, hunched over textbooks at a corner table. "Terry!" Maria called out from behind the counter, her weathered face lighting up. "¿Qué tal, mi amor? The usual?" "You know it," Terry replied with his trademark grin, but something caught his attention. The girl at the corner table wasn't eating, just nursing a cup of water that had long since lost its ice. Her school uniform was neat but worn, and her mathematics textbook was riddled with sticky notes and careful annotations. As Maria prepared his order, Terry noticed the girl glance up at him, recognition flickering in her dark eyes. She quickly looked back down, but he could see her stealing glances. When their eyes met again, she offered a small, shy wave. "Mind if I sit?" Terry asked, approaching her table with his tray. The girl, Keisha, according to the name embroidered on her school blazer, looked startled. You're really Terry Crews." "Guilty as charged," he chuckled, settling into the plastic chair across from her. "Working on homework?" "Calculus," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. It's hard." Terry looked at the complex equations spread across her notebook, remembering his own struggles with advanced mathematics years ago. "What's your name?" "Keisha. Keisha Williams." "Well, Keisha Williams, what do you say we tackle this together?" For the next hour, the unlikely pair worked through derivative problems and integration formulas. Terry's patience surprised Keisha. She'd expected a celebrity to be dismissive or in a hurry, but he explained concepts with the same enthusiasm he brought to his workout videos. "You're really good at this," Keisha said, as they finished the last problem on her assignment. "I had to be," Terry replied, leaning back in his chair. "Growing up in Flint, Michigan, education was my ticket out. My mom worked 3 jobs to keep me in school." Keisha's eyes widened. 3 jobs? Cleaning offices at night, serving lunch, at the school cafeteria during the day, and doing laundry for neighbors on weekends. Terry's voice carried a weight of memory. "She never complained, never let me see her tired, just kept pushing me to be better." The restaurant had grown quieter around them, with only Maria moving softly in the background, pretending not to listen to their conversation. "That's why you help people," Keisha said suddenly. It wasn't a question. Terry paused, studying her face. "What do you mean?" "I've seen the videos online. You visiting kids in hospitals, paying for groceries for families, helping people with their rent when they lose their jobs." Keisha's voice grew stronger. "People always wonder why celebrities do that stuff. Most people think it's just for show. And what do you think?" Keisha looked down at her textbook, then back at him. "I think you remember what it felt like." The simple statement hung in the air between them, heavy with understanding. "Can I ask you something?" Keisha's voice was quiet, but determined. Terry nodded, sensing this was important. "Why do you really help so many people? Like, the real reason?" Terry was quiet for a long moment, watching the steam rise from his coffee cup. Outside, the streetlights had come on, casting long shadows across the restaurant floor. "You want to know the truth?" he asked finally. Keisha nodded. "When I was 12 years old, my family was evicted from our apartment." Terry's deep voice carried across the small space. "We had nowhere to go. My mom, my sisters, and me. We ended up sleeping in our car for 2 weeks." Keisha's eyes never left his face. "I remember lying in that back seat, hearing my mom cry when she thought we were asleep. I remember being so angry, Angry at the world, angry at God, angry at myself for not being old enough to fix it. Terry's hands, usually so animated, were still on the table. And then something happened. What? A stranger helped us. This woman, I never even knew her name. She worked at a local church. She saw us parked outside one morning, figured out our situation and just acted. Got us into a shelter, helped my mom find steady work, made sure I stayed in school. Terry looked directly at Keisha. She didn't do it for recognition, didn't do it for social media. She didn't even stick around long enough for us to properly thank her. She just saw people who needed help, and she helped. The restaurant felt incredibly quiet. Even Maria had stopped moving behind the counter. That woman saved our family, Terry continued, his voice growing softer, but more intense. And she saved me from becoming someone I wouldn't have recognized. Because when you're that desperate, that angry, you can go down some dark paths. Keisha was hanging on every word. So when people ask me why I help others, the answer is simple. Terry paused, his eyes glistening. I help people because someone helped me when I couldn't help myself. I help people because I know what it feels like to be invisible, to be forgotten, to feel like the world has given up on you. He leaned forward slightly. Every time I pay someone's rent, every time I visit a kid in the hospital, every time I help a family put food on their table, I'm not being generous. I'm being grateful. I'm honoring that woman who saw worth in a scared kid from Flint when nobody else did. Terry's voice dropped to almost a whisper. See, people think helping others is about charity, but for me, it's about remembering. It's about never forgetting where I came from and never letting anyone else feel as alone as I felt in that car. The silence in the restaurant was profound. Maria had tears in her eyes. Even the elderly man at the other table had stopped reading his paper. Every person I help, Terry continued, is that 12-year-old boy in the back seat. Every family I assist is my family. Every time I reach out, I'm reaching back to that moment when someone reached out to me. Keisha wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I never thought about it like that. Most people don't, Terry said gently. They see the success, the movies, the fame. They don't see the scared kid who almost didn't make it. They don't understand that helping others isn't what I do. It's who I am. It's the most honest part of me. He stood up slowly, pulling out his wallet. And that's why, Keisha Williams, when I saw you in here working so hard on your homework, nursing that 1 cup of water, because maybe that's all you could afford tonight, I had to sit down, because I've been there. Terry placed several bills on the table, enough to cover both their meals and a generous tip for Maria. Your education matters. Your dreams matter. You matter. Don't ever forget that. As he headed toward the door, Keisha called out, "Mr. Cruz." He turned back. "Thank you for everything." Terry smiled, that genuine smile that had made him famous, not for its brightness, but for its authenticity. "Thank you for reminding me why it's all worth it." As the restaurant door closed behind him, the silence lingered. In that small Brooklyn diner, 3 people, a teenage girl, an elderly man, and a restaurant owner, sat with the weight of truth, understanding finally why some people help others, not because they have to, but because they remember what it felt like when someone helped them. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring true stories, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Your support helps us continue bringing you real stories about real people making a real difference. Thank you for watching.